Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Keyjon here with another video for you guys. Now in today's video I want to talk about my thoughts and opinions and overall feelings about the first half of Shadowhunters season 3, and when I say the first half I mean Shadowhunters season 3A, which comprises of 10 episodes. So but before I get into this review, I wanna inform you guys that there will be tons and tons of spoilers. If you guys haven't seen the first half of season 3 of Shadowhunters, I would recommend that you go watch it. You go watch those episodes and then come back, because I don't want to spoil you guys. Obviously, you don't want, if you don't want to be spoiled, then this video might not be for you. But if you want to hear my thoughts and you've already seen it, or if you haven't seen it yet, you can be spoiled at your own risk. So don't say I didn't warn you. So alright, so let's get into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is the villain for the first half. Now Lilith is the villain. Now we saw that at the end of season 2, when Jace was brought back to life, he was feeling some kind of like pain inside of him, like deep pain, and he was outside of the Hunter's Moon. And after a little while, we got a scene where Sebastian was taken down, was brought down to Edom, or to this dark place or hell, wherever he was. And we saw that these flying dragons were taking the form or shape of a woman. Now that lady, for those of you who know or may not know, that lady is Lilith. So no, okay, so let's talk about her. She, at first, when I saw her, when I started to like watch these episodes, I didn't really know how to feel about her. But when I started to explore her character, especially from the books. Now the first half of season 3 is based off of the 4th book in the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare, which is City of Fallen Angels. And mind you, I have read all the Mortal Instruments books, and so I knew where they was going with the storyline. Now Lilith, when I saw her, I kind of thought that, oh, she was going to be the simple villain. But then when I started to watch her character grow and progress through all these 10 episodes, she had a really menacing and she's a really emotional villain. Sorry. She has this kind of like emotional, menacing way about her. Like, she doesn't care who she hurts, obviously, because she's a villain. And we see that the side effects of Jace having that pain inside of him is because Lilith was like brought back to life, or was brought back to life from hell in a way, because Jace was now susceptible to danger and all these evil things, because before he died, he had, like, I think there was a part in the books that explained this. He had a lot of protection runes and spells over him, and that protected him from danger or evil, obviously. So when he died and came back to life, when after Clary made the wish to Raziel and brought him back, all of his protection runes, like, literally stripped away. And when I saw him in pain at the end of season 2, I was like, what's going on with Jace? I had no idea what was going on. And then eventually when I read the books and like started to watch the show in comparison, I realized that he has no longer had his protection runes. All the protection runes, it's gone, and now he was just in pain. And I felt so sorry for Jace throughout this whole first half of the season, and Clary especially. She did a lot for Jace to like bring him back, and to see that ever since Lilith came into the story, she was really like possessing him and taking control of him, because she was really hell-bent on like destroying Jace for killing her son, which is Sebastian. And when I realized that it was really her possessing him, I was like, oh my, I was so upset with her. She got me. I understand the emotional impact she felt with losing Sebastian, but she kind of got me upset, and she she was just causing destruction and chaos and death all over the place. And with I felt, well, in this whole first half of the 10 episodes, I felt Clary was really brave, and seeing that she could really finally call Jace her boyfriend, we really get to see these characters like Clary and Jace. They really are inseparable, and we really get to see Clary go to extreme lengths to try and save Jace and figure out what's going on with him, and I find that was really great. Next thing I want to talk about is the way how we have this new warlock. His name is Lorenzo Ray, and he is apparently now the new warlock of Brooklyn, because ever since at some point in season 2, ever since Magnus made a deal with the City Queen to try and protect the Dawnholders, that plan kind of backfired on him, and I was like, oh my goodness, Magnus is not the high warlock of Brooklyn no more. And but he's still a warlock. So this new warlock Lorenzo Way was trying to fight him, because he kind of felt intimidated by Magnus. At least that's what I got. He kind of felt intimidated by Magnus, and they had a kind of showdown or face off in the street in Brooklyn, and they were fighting each other. They didn't like each other at all, and yeah, and Lorenzo kind of got me mad, because I was never used to seeing him there. He was always like bossing around Magnus or pushing him around. But then at a point in time, Magnus, he couldn't take it no more. And Magnus, he was like getting so upset. And that whole fight, that whole warlock fight scene was really great. And I just love that scene. Next thing I want to talk about is the fact that Clary was woman or lady enough to tell everyone, like have everyone meet in a certain place and tell everyone about the wish she made to reveal about bringing Jace back to life. And I was so happy she told everyone, because she was kind of struggling to tell them, even though she told Jace to tell him in the first place, and ever since he didn't want to tell them, she took it upon herself to tell everyone. But before, she was kind of hesitant to tell them, especially Luke and everybody in the institute and thing. I find she was so strong. She felt she wanted, like, when she was explaining to them what happened, you could see that she wanted to cry, and she was holding back some of her tears. And I felt so much pain for Clary that she have to go and tell everybody about the wish alone, and that Jace wasn't there because obviously he was possessed by Lilith. Lilith was controlling him that whole time. And I just love that scene. I find Clary was so brave, and Clary was so strong in that scene. So, alright, the next thing I want to talk about is the way how Lilith murdered Ithuriel. Now, if you all don't know from the books, Ithuriel is the angel who gave Clary the ability to draw certain runes, and she have the power with runes. Whatever rune she thinks about, she is able to draw it and have it come to life and let it have its own power. Now, I absolutely love the idea of Clary being able to create her own runes. That is something we saw like in City of Glass in the third book in Immortal Instruments, and I find that was so good. Yeah, that was really, really good. So when Ithuriel was murdered by Lilith, I felt so, I did not know, like, how would a demon like that be able to murder an angel so powerful? Because when I watched it, I was like, oh my gosh, Ithuriel dead. And Ithuriel was just about to tell Clary what was going on with Jace, the whole possession stuff, all that stuff. And out of nowhere, he just suddenly got murdered by Lilith, and I was just so angry. And then right in that moment, we got to see Lilith in her dragon, her demon form. And she was really, really, really scary. And I'm like, oh my god, Ithuriel dead. And then we see from the impact, she just Lilith, like from out of nowhere, she came and she just ripped his heart out and just pull it. And oh my god, I feel so. And then Clary started to cry. And then when Ethereal died, sorry for my, if I'm speaking kind of wrong, but then when Ethereal died, we see this kind of bright kind of light just flash all over the place, and the place just got dark instantly. And then Luke and his sister Cleophas was inside the Fairchild Manor, the farmhouse. Now you would have known in the Fairchild Manor or the farmhouse, that's the house where Luke was planning to stay with Jocelyn in the books, but Jocelyn is no longer with us. So when the angel Israel died, we saw, after the whole blast of light and the place just got suddenly dark again, when Clary saw Lilith's demon form and she started to cry, inside the farmhouse there was this big earthquake, and things just started to get crazy. And oh my goodness, I felt so sorry for Ethereal. He was so good, and he was so good to Clary, and guiding her through along this process. Whenever she needed help from an angel, it was Ethereal she would go to. That was like her OTP angel, her angel she would go to. And I find that scene was so thing, and Lilith was so evil and just really conniving, and she was like really upsetting me. Lilith was really upsetting me mainly because she's the villain, and I just felt so sad in that scene. Oh my gosh. The other thing I want to talk about is the introduction of Jordan. Now Jordan, if you all know from the City of Fallen Angels books, if you all have read it, you would know that Jordan was the one who was responsible for turning Maya into a werewolf. Now, we see the introduction of Jordan when Simon bumps into him in the street, and at first Simon thinks that Jordan is this kind of cool guy, and he invites him to stay in the apartment and whatnot and all that stuff. And eventually, upon Simon's venture into the apartment, Jace comes on a mission, but Jace soon tells him that Jordan is a werewolf. And from that moment on, Simon was like, what? And he was really upset that Jordan was hiding the secret from him. And but I'm sure all along Jordan knew Simon was a vampire, so I didn't know. I don't really understand why it was hard for Jordan to tell Simon that he was a werewolf, and why he was so hiding and so secretive. But when we find out that Simon knew that Jordan was a werewolf, he was kind of on his own beat, and he wasn't really helpful to Jordan again, because Jordan kept that secret from him so long, and whatever and stuff. And I just find, and the day Jordan and Simon had a little falling out, and it was really that was really kind of tension between two friends. That was kind of really cool to explore. I mean, a vampire and a werewolf fighting, like, oh my gosh, vampires and werewolves don't like each other, so oh my gosh. Yeah. Another thing I want to talk about too, and that's the end of that scene. So another thing I want to talk about too is the fact that Magnus, he had to go to his father to ask his father, and in the books too, Magnus's father name is Asmodeus. So the fact that Magnus had to go to his father and tell his father what was going on with Jace, and that Lilith was possessing him. Now, if you all know from any books too, I think Lilith and Asmodeus had a relationship. Now, Lilith is Magnus's mother. She is the mother of all demons, and Magnus's father is a warlock. So the fact that Magnus had to go to his father and tell his father what was happening with Jace, and how to try and stop Lilith from possessing Jace, because he realized that Magnus probably couldn't see Jace hurt no more. So Asmodeus made a deal with Magnus that he would help Magnus free Jace from Lilith's possession, in order, and the deal is that Magnus had to give up his powers and until the very last second where Magnus has a little strength, in a little wall of power, a little strength in him to go and free Jace. And in that moment we saw, and the other scene from there was when Jace, the evil Jace, when he was being possessed by Lilith, he almost tried to kill Alec, and I was like, oh my god, Alec, no, don't do that to your Parabatai. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my gosh. And that was, I really honestly thought Alec was going to die, and in that moment, when Jace was going to stab Alec with the arrow in his hand, you see Magnus comes and just saves the day, and it was just so good. And oh my god, Magnus just, with the last amount of wall of power he had, he just blast Jace, just blast him toward the wall, and oh my, he pushed him back with that power. And then from that moment on, oh my goodness, Jace was freed from the possession, and it was just so cool to see Magnus come to the rescue. Because although I do not, now let me make this clear, although I do not like the whole relationship between Magnus and Alec. Now I know there are a lot of people who, you know, like that kind of relationship, but please, you know, in the comments, if you wanna talk about this part, please say something nice in the comment. I mean, I enjoy them as separate characters, but I am not about that whole gay life stuff. I don't enjoy that whole stuff. I don't enjoy that whole two boys and two men together. That is just so wrong. And okay, so anyway, back to the scene. We see after Magnus saves Jace from the possession, we see that Lilith, she got really upset and whatever, and now Jace is freed and stuff. And that scene was great. So we know that Alec, he, after he saw Jace freed from the possession, he was so glad to see his Parabatai and his partner, or embrace, and you know, and whatever. So I find that scene was so good. Now that Jace is freed from the possession, he could go back to Clary, right? That is what we all thought, right? But we go to our next scene where we see, now at the beginning of season 3, I also forgot to mention the scene where Simon got the mark of Cain from the Silly Queen. Now in the books that is not how we got it, but I understand there are changes from the show because Cassandra Clare approved of all of their changes, and it was really good to see how they kind of switched it up and gave him the mark of Cain in the show. Melion, which is one of the fairies, he gave him, the Silly Queen told Melion to give Simon the mark of Cain. Now with the mark of Cain, when Jace thought he was going to see Clary again, there was this time where Lilith captured Clary, and I was like, oh my goodness, I was just so shocked. Like with every episode, they just keep billing and billing. Now with the mark of Cain, when Jace went to see Clary, or went to embrace with Clary and rescue Clary from Lilith or whatever, Lilith was capturing Clary and torturing her and telling her that my son is better than Jace, is better than your Jace, and whatever. I want to resurrect him, and my disciples' blood will be able to resurrect him, and thing and stuff like that. And she was just torturing Clary and being so mean to her. But eventually, like, I think Clary was going along with the plan, because eventually both her and Simon had a plan to destroy Lilith. But how that went down is that when Simon came into Lilith's fortress, or wherever she was hiding, when she saw Simon, Lilith knew that she couldn't hurt Simon at all. And eventually Clary, as that scene progressed, Clary told Simon to try and mash up Sebastian's coffin. Now apparently Lilith took Sebastian in hell and she put him in a coffin. Sebastian was laying there in a coffin. Now Sebastian, as we found out, and sometime in season 2 and also in the books, Sebastian is Clary's brother. And so Sebastian was laying there in the coffin, and without Lilith noticing, Clary told Simon to go ahead with the plan and smash the coffin and try to stop Sebastian from waking up. But eventually he wakes up, and when Lilith realizes that they are trying to destroy Sebastian or stop him from waking up, Lilith runs over to Clary and she slaps Clary so hard. And I was like, oh my goodness, why would Lilith do that? Oh, she's so annoying. Lilith, so annoying. She was like really annoying. So, and then like after Simon saw Clary getting hurt, he jumped in the way, and we learn throughout these 10 episodes as it builds. Simon learned the more and more about his mark of Cain and what it can do and how to access it and stuff. So when Simon saw Clary getting hurt, he jumped in Lilith's way, and that scene where the mark of Cain lighted up on his head, and we just see this big explosion where Lilith tried to hurt Simon too, but even though she knows she couldn't hurt him, she still wanted to try to protect her son. And I get that she's emotional, but she's also evil. I mean, why would she do that to my one of my favorite Shadowhunters? I mean, I felt so sorry for Clary. And then we see, as these mark of Cain lighted up on Simon's head, we see Lilith is kind of blown away. Like, boom! There's this big explosion, and Clary and Simon were on a rooftop, and there was this big explosion with Lilith and the whole mark of Cain. And the way how it happened in the books was great too, but I find in the show it was even executed at a much greater level, and it was really, really good. So we see Lilith being blown away by the mark of Cain, but she's not entirely dead yet. She tried to hurt Clary, and we know that from the first episode of season 3, Clary is able to draw a sunlight rune and shoot sunlight out of her hand. Now, I find that was really good. So after she is like hurt by the mark of Cain, she didn't really feel the effects until after Clary blasted her with the sunlight rune from her hand, and she was freed from the thing. She was freed from Lilith's hold, and she blasted her with the sunlight rune, and then eventually feeling the side effects of the mark of Cain on Lilith, she is able to she was feeling herself burn, and then a strong heat was burning her from the inside out, and we just see Lilith in that scene. We see Lilith combust. She was combust, and she imploded, and then she exploded, and boom, there was this big explosion. Now, before Clary thought she got away, in the process of Clary being tied up, we saw that Lilith put her mark. There was a mark on Clary's skin. Now, in the books, Lilith was possessing Jace, but in the show, Lilith, after Jace was freed from the possession, she decided to put Lilith decided to put her mark on Clary, which I find is fitting, seeing that in the show that after she possessed Jace, I guess it would have been really people would have really thought automatically that she would have go for Clary, and that scene was really good. So now, after Lilith died and Clary thought she was getting away, we see that Sebastian eventually wakes up, and Clary goes to run toward the door out to Simon and whatever, and hug him up as a friend, and they have a nice friendship and whatever. And we see that Lilith's magic has now bound Clary towards Sebastian. So now she is tied to Sebastian in some way. That happens in the book with Jace. And I just find that was so fascinating to see that book scene play out in the show. It add a next level of hype and excitement, and the show is so good. And so we see Sebastian's hands on Clary. He grabs Clary and he pulling her, like he wanted to pull her towards him, saying in his mind, I'm sure Sebastian probably was saying, you know, that you belong to me now and you are mine and whatever. So, and I find that was really good, really good. And eventually, after the whole big explosion, when Jace went to find, so the next scene, okay, I'm sorry, the next scene was when, after the events of the big explosion with the Lilith, the final scene I remember, after the events of the big explosion with Lilith, Jace went on top the rooftop to try to find Clary, but then Simon came just in time to stop him from going inside, and he was like, hey, you know, like, Jace was like, wait, Simon, where's Clary? And Simon felt so bad for Jace, I think, and then he was like, oh my god, Jace, I'm sorry, Clary's dead. Simon said Clary is dead, I killed her. And I was like, oh my god. But then we know that is what Jace thinks right now. And then the whole episode or the whole season just finishes on that high point on that cliffhanger right there. But from as of right now, we know that Clary is not dead. We know that Sebastian took her back to hell or wherever he wants to take her, and for her to do evil. Now she has become a servant of evil. So, and that's it. And yeah, so now we end off this first half of season 3 with the realization that Jace has a kind of theory that Clary is really dead, because I don't think Simon would lie to him, even though nobody knows that Sebastian took Clary. And that basically ends the first half of the season, and I find it was really great, really good. This whole half of season 3 of Shadowhunters is just so good, and it was just, yeah, really good. And I found out on Google a couple of minutes ago after I watched the episode that they are going to be using, for the second half of season 3, they are going to be mixing books 5 and 6, which is book 5 is City of Lost Souls and book 6 is City of Heavenly Fire. So they are going to be mixing both books, intertwining both books for the second half of season 3. And yeah, that's it. So that's it. That is all I have for you guys today. Let me know what your thoughts on the first half of Shadowhunters season 3 was. Did you like it? Did you hate it? You know, what were your thoughts? Were you happy with the way that cliffhanger ended? You know, just give me your thoughts. And if you like, as always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can, and make sure you turn on that post notification bell so you can see, you can get a notification about a video every time I upload it. I try to post videos, as always. You know me, if you see my channel for the first time, please subscribe. But as always, you know me, I always say that I try to post a video whenever possible, whenever I can. So this is another video for you guys. So let me know your thoughts, let me know what you think about it, and I will see you guys in my next one very soon. Bye.